Hello, welcome to video number 3, finally. My name's Angelina, I am a eurythmist and I would like to share about what it means to be a eurythmist and from an artistic point of view. And the topic today will be the eurythmical heart. I said that in my last video and it's a topic I love, but which turned out to be quite challenging to find words, to find insights that fit in this particular context. And since eurythmy is something which lives so much in experience, being a eurythmist, what it means, you can only understand it by experiencing it, and especially something like the eurythmical heart, whatever that might be. I think experience is so important, and what I hope to do today is to spark a little interest and maybe also offer a point of view to look at a performance and a focus. So that is what we're going to do today, and let's see how far I get. So the eurythmical heart, or the heart first. It refers to a part of the body, and we're not going to concern ourselves with the physical heart beating in our chest, but we're going to take the general area, the heart area, more or less like from here all the way around this kind of general area. So we're going to concern ourselves with a part of the body, which is different than we've done in our previous 2 videos. In the first one we have more looked about what we want to make visible or turn into movement, or which movement of the music we want to take and turn into movement of the body. And we've looked particularly at music, and but the same goes for poetry, because we can also move poetry. A little bit different, and of course there's a ton to say about that. The second video we've looked more at how do we move and kind of imaginary forces and so forth. And we will be looking in eurythmy how to translate that which we want to make visible of the music into those kind of forces and principles and so forth. And that's a study of many years. And the step I want to make now is to look at the instrument we have, the body, or actually our whole being, to make these movements that I've talked about in the last video and in the first video about the movements we want to make visible of music. We have a body for that, or better, a whole being. And actors have also their body or whole being, maybe also as an instrument. So when an actor wants to portray a character, and let's take now a human character, I know actors can do other things, but when he portrays the character, his head will be the head of the character, and his legs, the legs, and his arms, the arms, and he will use them and move them in a different way, and will have a different posture and so forth. But his head is the head of the character, and the legs, the legs. When he portrays a fried egg, that will be like, has to find a solution. In eurythmy, sometimes we're characters, but a lot of the times we're things like music. And last time I checked, music does not have arms, or physical arms. That means we have to look at the body as well as music in a different way to find out what in the music can be moved by arms. So when I want to make music visible, I have to ask, or we have to ask, how does the body relate to the music, and where do I find the qualities of the different musical elements in us. So we have to dive into the qualities of the human body and how we are built, to find out how we can translate that, and in that way the Eurythmical instrument is a bit more maybe actually like a musical instrument than the instrument of an actor is. Also, when we talk about moving poetry, we're moving the language, and language itself does not have a physical appearance in that sense, so we have to find where it relates to our being. Like an instrument, a violin, we could use it like a drum, or we play it upside down or whatever. But it is built to make a particular sound, to have the possibility to sound in a very beautiful way. And a human being can stand upside down, which is lovely. If you can, I'm not very good at that. But our legs are more built to carry us than our arms. In Eurythmy, we're trying to use the qualities of those different body parts, of our legs, of our arms, of our head, in a way that they have, in the quality that they have, which is not to say that you can't do it differently, or that we will be standing a lot, moving around on our legs, which is not to say you can also do Eurythmy sitting down. You can do Eurythmy on your belly. You can't barely move because it's so much more than a physical movement, but we are interested in the qualities of our different body parts in a very particular way, and that's why you will see Eurythmy, mostly see Eurythmy standing, moving their arms, making gestures. You will rarely find a eurythmist upside down. So we're going to slowly go back to the heart, but first we're going to the arms, in the sense like that. The legs, we're going to stand, we're going to move through space, and the arms, they're going to be expressive in gestures, because our arms are free to do so. They don't have to walk, so they can be expressive. And the arms relate to the heart in a very specific way, in the sense that if I take that as a centre, it's a completely different centre than any other centre in the body. I could say I put a centre inside my head, and I can show like the periphery of that with my arms. I can make it small or large. The same I can do for my abdomen. You can't see that, but I can't really be so much around, like with my head I can really show kind of the sphere around it. And I can do that for a lot of different parts of the body. I could put it here at centre and make like a little periphery around it. But I can't do that for my heart. Because if I wanted to kind of show like, oh, well, the periphery, I first have to make a radius out of it, because my arms are kind of almost attached to my heart area. They're kind of sticking out of it, which means I can only like show with my arms or maybe a part of my, but I can't be outside of it. I always have this connection from inside to periphery, or from the periphery to me, but I can't show the periphery. But there's, on the other hand, I can't show from my head inward, from the centre out. I can't, because my arms are not there. So this area is kind of a unique possibility for the arms to express something about, I don't know. It's maybe a bit random, but I've laughed at when we've talked about that at some point in our training, and it's like a little sun, the heart, and our arms can show the relationship between center and periphery. It can be that connection between outside of inside. We can't be outside. We can't show with our arms. We can experience and relate to it. Something completely different than showing a small or a big space around it. And it's also not to say that I can't create a periphery or a big sphere around me, also with the heart at the center. It is like the arms can connect, or you can be in the center and touch the periphery at the same time. With our head, we can't do that. I can't both, with one hand, but not this connection. And I feel like having this kind of sun, it makes us kind of like our own center. And if we say, oh, like me, it's very natural to say, oh, it's our own heart center. The center has, of course, not just because it's physically built like this, has a very special property, and in Eurythmy and in general. And in general, we talk about the heart or the heart center as there where feelings live, and maybe, or at least for me in a way, that I also physically feel my feelings or emotions. They have kind of like almost a physical feeling, and that's the special thing I think about this heart area, is that which is a feeling, which is an inner feeling, and that which is a physical outer feeling, they're very close to each other there. And that is actually what we also use in Eurythmy, and it's not so much the emotional part of it. Not to say that emotion does not play a role, but the fact that inner feelings and so forth, and physical feelings are very close related there, is something very interesting for us as Eurythmists, in the sense that we want to translate principles and feelings and so forth into physical movement. So the heart center is going to be very important for that, for telling the body, the rest of the body, how to move according to the music, through feelings or principles, because it has the property of having those two worlds very close to each other there. We're going to use it to take the inner images, the inner feelings, and translate them into movements, very small but physical movements here in this area, and from there out into the rest of the body. It will depend a little bit on style, on school, on Eurythmists, how that is exactly done, and I'm not 100% sure if all Eurythmists will agree, but this is how it works for me, and I think, for all Eurythmists, this is a very important area, but for me it's like this microcosmos, in which I can translate my inner feelings and movements and principles as well into physical movement, while this area has something special about that, and that's the whole world. And I want to emphasize that this is that it's really about actual physical movements that are here, very small, but as a eurythmist you will train to use this area very differentiated, very fine movement, and send it to the rest of the body. And a lot of is there to say about techniques, and I first wanted to go into that, but I feel like I will do that for another time and weave it into another video. But just as like this area is going to translate what we have as an inner world into small movement that can translate to the rest of the body, it maybe also be different, I don't know, but as a kind of general rule. Yeah, and if I wanted to go back to the first video where I tried to play like the piano, and I think the only way I can make that movement where the music is moving me, I can't just do that just by my arms. I did it as a eurythmist, and I think I have to look back at the video if the conductor is also doing that as well. But I feel like if I just leave it out here, I can't. Maybe pianist can, I don't know. Eurythmist will move their heart. I hope that talking about the heart can make even when eurythmy is very formed, and I really love that, and the form can also be very clear here, but it's always also live here. And I mean there are different ways. Maybe there are moments where you say, oh, I take that back and it's just outside. There are of course artistic choices and so forth, and differentiated, it's a whole art form. But this area is very important, and for me as a eurythmist, I don't know what I would do without it. For me, that's where it lives. Maybe that's my very personal, what I would say, like if I want to differentiate what is eurythmy and what isn't eurythmy, which is a very different question, of course. But for me, I think I would look at how it relates to the depth center. But yeah, there might be other principles as well. This is one very dear to my heart. Thank you so much for watching. I'm planning to do another video where I will talk about one gesture, this one, and the whole world that lives around it. And yeah, that would be kind of like an example.